So, welcome to my session, Building a Security Awareness Program. If you thought that I was going to show you how to do that, you are wrong and you might want to leave. You need me to yell louder? Can you turn up your hearing aid? So let me scoot out a little bit so I can spread the room a little. But Bob Silva, I'm Director of Technology for Salem-Keizer Public Schools. And pretty much one of the things that I enjoy at ACP is running a think tank. So for this session, I'm going to kind of run it like a think tank session. So you guys are going to collectively help all of us build a series of ideas and strategies and stuff like that to build our own security awareness program. Because I'm sure there's many different things that each of us has tried to get our staff to stop clicking the links, right? No. But that's a good strategy. So, in doing so, I will facilitate the conversation, and your guys' job is to throw out your ideas. The structure is going to be really simple. We're going to discuss who needs to be involved in the security awareness program, who is being targeted by the security awareness program, and then we'll go into what content needs to be included. This sounds terrible. So what content needs to be included in a security awareness program, when, as far as how often, and then how. How do you go about implementing the security awareness program once you've got all these other things figured out, right? All right. So, a little diagram here to kind of lead the conversation. Obviously, the baseline of who is all your staff, right? But you can't teach all your staff everything about cybersecurity. There's certain groups of staff that need additional training as the risk levels go up. For instance, I would put information technology staff at the top of the triangle because they present some of the highest risk to the organization of falling prey to email phishing or something like that, because depending on who you are, you have elevated credentials in the systems that you manage. So, other than a baseline training for all staff, what are some other groups of people that you need to target with additional, more specific, targeted training? Okay, so fiscal, HR, and I have a note taker, and when we're done, I will build out a full slide deck, and I believe we can attach it to our presentation in Shed or however the hell you pronounce that. Schedule app. So I'll attach it in there so that if you want all of our collective feedback, it'll be available sometime next week probably. Okay, who else? Facilities? Okay, so from the standpoint of building access security, I would throw HVAC. Anybody remember how Target had their data breach? HVAC system, third-party vendor. Almost all of us have an HVAC system that a third-party vendor maintains for us. Who else? So food services, yeah, they maintain some of the most sensitive data that we have with the most punitive most punitive result of a data breach around that free and reduced lunch information. Special education, same thing. They have more access to sensitive information than others, and also have additional regulations surrounding student data privacy. Building secretary. So the point is of all of this is it's not just one training for all of your staff. You have different levels of staff that need different types of training. You start with your base cybersecurity training, and then you specialize it above there. So for instance, the first one you said payroll. Anybody in fiscal should know about the current scams around W-2s, right? We have Redmond School District. If you're in the house, I'm not picking on you. And I believe it was Olympia, or Tacoma, Olympia, that became part of a W-2 scam. Because somebody just, the superintendent sent them an email saying, send me your W-2s. And the person responded with all of the W-2s. So it happens out there, it happens in K-12, it happens in our region. It's on us to provide that training. Okay? What about students? What about teachers? Are teachers different than other staff? Do they handle student data? So it's not just about email phishing. That's the primary attack vector that's used against us, but they need to know how to manage student data. Whereas that wouldn't be an all-staff training, that would be one specialized for teachers. So it goes in multiple levels that you have to think about. All right, so then the next question is, what type of content, what type of training material do we need in a security awareness program? So I started with one, obviously, email phishing and other attack vectors. That seems to be the primary mechanism that the bad people are using to get into our system. But what other training material? Social media awareness, and I would say social engineering tactics. Phone scan, so what's that? Phishing? Yeah, password management is a training aspect that we should be taking care of. What about data privacy? We should be training staff that have access to sensitive data, especially data that has regulations tied to it. FERPA, HIPAA, IDEA regulations, free and reduced lunch, regulations around that data. It's our responsibility to provide that training to the staff members. I've never heard of that. It's not just the instructor, it's us. Yes, from the context of if you wrap up student data privacy practices within your cybersecurity program, absolutely. And in Salem's case, that's what we're doing. So Bellevue got somebody, I'm hoping I can get somebody. So if you're interested, I'm posting a position in the next few weeks called Coordinator of Cybersecurity and Data Privacy. So I am bundling both of those aspects into one position because it really is a full-time job to take care of that. So Jim bailed on me. I don't have anybody looking out for student data anymore. So security best practices. Is it always work-related? Because if it was always work-related and if that was the way to hook them on the information, would any of us be having or sitting in this session right now? So when you talk about strategies, tie it to their wallet. So tie the practices and behaviors that you want to get out of them to their wallet and how it affects them at home, how it affects their students, their kids if they have some, when their identity is stolen. So make sure you include or consider that as a strategy to gain their interest and actually read the email or watch the video or whatever other channel you use to get that information across. Make it relevant. If they've been working with student data for the past 25 years, nothing you're going to say is going to change that behavior because they don't understand why. If they understood why, they wouldn't be clicking. Right? Other things, how to report. What to report. What are some things that you'd want your staff to report? Phishing attack. Right? How can you respond if you don't know that a phishing attack is coming in? What else? What if your mouse starts moving around on your screen? Unexpectedly, right? So you have to think about what are some things that can happen that you might maybe consider as a security event, and then make sure your staff understand how do they get that information to you, and that they have a responsibility to get that information to you. We just got phished 2 weeks ago. 400 emails came in, even though it was from a random email address. The content, the body of the email was a letter from the superintendent, and it had a PDF attachment. It was reported to us within 6 minutes of the emails coming in. It went to 400 inboxes. 12 people reported. And at the top of every single email, it tells them exactly what to do. So staff don't understand the responsibility that they have to report that information. Oh, I'm sure somebody else will do that. So that's got to be part of your training. I'll go here in a minute. What did I do? So I do things differently. What did we do? So the phishing happened on Tuesday, I believe. Thursday, we already had indicators of compromise. And so Thursday night, we sent out all staff using School Messenger. We sent out a dialer saying, tomorrow morning, your password needs to be changed. And we checked the box for forced password change, and we went through that. Because we already were compromised. They were already using the credentials that they got to come back into the district. Oh, wait, I cheated. Sorry, I'll come back to you. It could be a plugin, a malicious plugin. They exist out there. We had a plugin 2 years ago while we were at ACPEnw that started throwing up porn advertisements. So don't trust every Chrome extension that's out there, because same thing happens with WordPress. These people that are doing this, they'll offer a couple $1,000s to the developer to buy it, to take the licensing rights. Once they own it, they're starting to put backdoors into the WordPress plugins or abuse from both extensions as well as other similar mechanisms. So be cautious with that. They're using that as an attack vector to use their needs, whatever their goals are. Chris. There's a hand up back there. The one that you just looked in the back. Yeah, just our Active Directory password. Because that's what they had, was their Office 365 password. So basically we knew we had indicators to compromise when they came back in and put the forwarding rule in, or inbox rule to delete any messages that were similar to, they said, phishing, specific words. And the purpose of that is they're going to turn around and use that account now to get more user credentials from other organizations. Because when it's coming from Salkai's, if it goes out to other school districts, we're a semi-trusted entity, right? Other school districts, if the email address is right, there's an implied level of trust, right? And that's how this whole thing works, is through trust. Even though the email address in our phishing attack wasn't the superintendent's, it said it was from the superintendent. Oh, well, I trust my superintendent, so yeah, I'll open the PDF and click the link and enter my credentials. That's based off of trust. And it's really easy to abuse. All right, what about, so we talked about passwords, different attack vectors, again, making it relevant to them how to protect themselves. So don't make it about the school district, make it about them and how to protect them. All right. When? How do we answer the when? Obviously, ongoing, at regular intervals. When are some other times you should receive training? Huh? Good. For your financial office, right before tax time. Yeah, so post-incident response is a good time to do training. Okay. So onboarding. Do we all have, I don't know about Washington, but in Oregon we have mandatory training that we need to do. How many of you have phishing related information in your mandatory training? I know I should see a few hands go up. So that's obviously a good time. What about as people change roles? So if I move from the custodial office into HR or payroll, do I have a different set of expectations on what knowledge I need to have, and do I create a different risk for the organization based on my actions? So that's interesting. I need to talk a lot more because this is my last slide, but this is also from my notes, and hopefully all of yours, this will be our biggest one. So then the question is, okay, how? Right? So I think I started it. So one of the things I use is NIP4. It's a simulated phishing attack tool. So far I've done 2 simulated phishing attacks, well 3 I guess, because the first one I did was against my own staff, and we had the highest click-through rate of any of my phishing tests. Do you know why? I sent it as me. It wasn't me. I made up a fake email address that just said robertsilva@gmail.com, and I shared a Google Doc. I had a higher click-through rate than any other phishing test that I did with my staff. And it wasn't just the click-through, it was the credential theft that was part of it. Because there's an implied trust between my staff and myself. Yeah, now they don't open any of my emails. But even in that case, I've never shared a Google Doc with my staff. So, there were still additional red flags that were available that should have overridden the trust. But that's part of the training, and we're not exempt from the training. We need to be trained just as much as anybody else because trust does have us, as in anything, not just email phishing. We do many things out of trust that when we reflect back and say, oh, I probably shouldn't have done it. Okay? What else? Make a campaign with a slogan. So this didn't do anything, so I'm not advising this, but if you are in a smaller district, we came up with Stop, Think, Verify. Because it's a lot easier to train on something when it has a name. So we've determined that our security awareness program is built around these three simple words: stop, think, verify. So when you get an email, stop, think about what you're doing, and it doesn't show up really well here, but that's at the top of every external email that we receive. You know how many staff read it? Very little. I constantly get emails asking, what do I do? And they forward the email with that right at it, right at the top of it. And I just respond back, well, if you could read that little box that says stop, think, verify, it has your reporting options available in it. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. So in our most recent one where we did the emergency password change, I changed the color of the box to re-register in our brain that, hey, this is a change, it's something different. Let me give it focus for 5 more seconds. Does it work? I don't know. But I don't see these anymore when I look at my email. Even though every external email has it at the top, I don't see it anymore. We all get notifications as part of our job. Do we see those notifications anymore? Or did we finally create a rule that just moves them to the trash can? Right? So you have to overcome the natural human behavior when you're using stuff like this. I see a lot of school districts now that have a little tagline, but you have to do, I believe, you have to do something to continuously change it up, to re-register in the brain. It's something different. I need to give it a little bit of focus, and then I can ignore it from then on. So take advantage of that opportunity to change it up. How many of you have a email phishing response? Incident response. I do. We got one. So we don't have a security incident response plan yet, but we have an email phishing incident response plan. Because some of them, even though the majority of them are harmless and you don't need to worry about, there's some that are extremely effective. You need to be able to respond to those. I'm going to try to get the numbers right. So for that email phishing from our superintendent, quote unquote, first report came within 6 minutes. And we started instituting our incident response within, I think, 23 minutes. And we had it deleted within under 30 minutes. And even in that small time frame, we still had over 500 clicks out to the website rather than the PDF. Now figure that out. 400 people got it. We had 500 clicks out to the website. Because as soon as he logged in, I don't know what it did because I didn't fall for it. And I didn't get the email either. Yeah. Following this tutorial. Yeah, we use a Barracuda link, so it's only when you click. Because otherwise it's in the Barracuda special URL. So we get to the actual URL, it went through. It doesn't pre-check. Now, within a few, I don't know how much time went by, but eventually Barracuda did flag it as a suspicious site, and it blocked it as well right at the point. But before that, we had already blocked it in our web filter, so the staff wouldn't get to it back here. So he said there's a product called Go Fish. It's open source. It does a lot of the same thing as the KnowBe4. And the KnowBe4 comes, and as well as others, but the KnowBe4 comes with a lot of training content, so training videos. So if they do click through, it will, one, show them the red flags they should have seen in the email that you sent. And then it will provide, it can provide some optional training, or it can provide some mandatory training. So for those repeat clickers, and we have a few that have clicked every single time we fish them, we're in discussions about, okay, how do we want to handle that? Because they're not learning, or not understanding, or we're not providing the right information for them to make different, to change their behavior. So I'm going to start repeating just so that we have it on the video here. So anybody that clicks multiple times goes into their multi-factor authentication early adopter group. Great strategy. As part of our phishing incident response plan, anybody that clicked gets an automatic forced password change, no notice. If you clicked, that's the penalty you pay. It's not punitive, it's protective. Once we change the password, we do notify, but we don't reach out first and let them know. Because that time is, you're vulnerable, right? What if it was, a principal's credentials? We had an assistant principal that gave up their credentials in that phishing attack 2 weeks ago. They have full admin rights to all the systems. So, full data breach with 400 emails. And that's the way I present it to my staff. So I do something as a post-incident review out to staff. I call it a fish tank, and I explain. This is how you could have, this is what happened. This is how you could have identified the email. So it's a training opportunity. And then based on the people that we know click through, we explain what the impact could have been. Every time it's been a full day. On my simulated phishing attack, it was a full data breach plus all staff. So full data breach, I mean student data. But then if you give up, any staff member that gives up their credentials is pretty much giving up their social security number because of our employee self-service website. I can find out how much you get paid. I can get the social security number. I can't change your direct deposit. So if you do have direct deposit information through your any type of website, I would disable that capability. We have a local school district that did fall for that and lost a significant chunk of change. And they came in the day before payday and changed a bunch of people's direct deposit information. It happens. All right, how else? What are some other things that you can do? Gamify. How do you gamify? Who said that? So how would you gamify it? So the strategy we're using along those same lines is we're in the transition between projectors to display. So I have a whole bunch of displays in my warehouse that I don't know where to put them right now, but I got a great deal on. So in our simulated phishing attacks, the next one we do, we're going to tell the schools, hey, the school that reports the most phishing attacks, or phishing reports. But anyways, the school that reports the most will have a display allocated to the school. The principal gets to decide where it goes. So gamify it, gives people a reason to report it because that's your first line of defense. You have to know it's coming in. Did anybody use any other ideas around gamification, reward? So it's different for each school district. In Salem, with our political climate, we wouldn't be able to get away with something like that. But we can give away, classroom technology, right? Figure out ways to invite the teachers to want to help. Make it worthwhile for them to do more than just sit and believe them, right? Other strategies for getting people to stop clicking. And that's a good strategy. Each of us needs to walk the line between corrective action and punitive action. The automatic password changes do it. It can be seen as both ways. Our intent is a corrective action. You want to put a little bit of pressure on for you to change your behavior, but not enough where that interrupts instruction, and I can fully validate the reason behind the action. I can say, look, they gave up their credentials. We're at risk until that password is changed. So I can fully validate that. Same thing with the PC. If that was a strategy that I wanted to use, I could easily say they did something to impact security of the device, so I need to take the device offline and re-image it. We're providing an alternative so that we're not impacting instruction too much. As long as you can justify it, it's a really fine line between a corrective action and a punitive action. How many of you wish you could have punitive action? I asked Microsoft and a few of the big companies, Dell, to see, hey, does anybody ever get fired for clicking links? Because I thought, surely in the corporate world, you get fired, and that's how they prevent this from happening. No. Which I was surprised. I'd fire somebody. Too much at risk. They have money at risk. Real money. Millions of dollars. So while it may be our desire to be punitive, as was just said, you don't make any progress. But like I said, a little bit of pain, not too bad. Can be effective sometimes if it's inconvenient for them based on their actions. So again, walk the line, don't go too far. What about management buy-in? Union buy-in. Now I know Francisco, and I don't know if he's in here, LBLESD, they went to the unions before they did simulated fishing. I personally did not before I did simulated fishing attacks because we wouldn't ask them to do fire drills or earthquake drills or any other type of drill. So my point of view is this is no different from any of those other drills that we do. So we don't need permission to do it. We have a due diligence to do it. We have a responsibility and accountability for the data that we are storing. So I wasn't going to ask permission to do our due diligence to protect that information. Plus they would have said no. So that's different because now you're asking for their time, right? So if you're asking for their time, when we get to the point where we want to force some training in response to their action, at that point I would involve the union in the conversation to see what they're doing. No. Superintendent only. And the first one I did, I got 2 cabinets. They don't do it anymore. I don't know what conversations were had, but they don't do it. Because, you know, again, on the triangle that we showed on the who, they're up there. Because again, if you think about what the risk of those people is if they were to do me, the superintendent, if they were to get my credentials and send an email out to the district, you're talking thousands of people that are going to do that. We already proved it in our first email phishing attack that I did as me out to my district. I'm a regular communicator out to our district, and we had a 36% click rate, so that's a couple thousand staffers. So the more you're known, the more trust, there's higher levels of trust there. So even if red flags are going off in their brain, well, it's just fine. He wouldn't do this to me. But it happened. Reporting. What mechanisms do you use for reporting? What are some of the tools that you use for giving you staff to report to? Help desk tickets? Most of us already have some form of help desk process. Salem uses a phishing app, Salem email address. We also, because we use the KnowBe4 platform, we actually have an Outlook add-in that goes on Outlook client, Outlook on the web, Outlook on your phone, that has a push alert button that you push that assumes just the whole message body with all the headers. So that's really the way to get your phishing done. What are some other? It's going to be a really small security awareness program. Any other strategies on how to get staff to report? If they have an email, both. So, one, I have this email that I believe is suspicious, which for your staff also includes spam. The majority of our phishing reports are just spam. That's the vast majority, and you have to weed through those to find the real threat. And then there's awareness. I think I did something, or I click that link, or I open that attachment. That's where the trust comes in for them to report. And that's not an implied trust. You even though they trust me, I sent an email out to the staff in that fish tank episode saying, if you click the link, and we know who clicked the link, please self-report. You know how many self-reported? 0. So using posters, buttons, so many stuff. No. I like the idea. Now one thing that we did do once is we had an assistant principal that fell for the "Are you available?" Everybody familiar with the "Are you available" phishing? Are you available? Sure. And they do it as the principal, even though it's a false email address. And so this was the day before their start of school staff meeting. So as the principal sent it to the AD and said, "Are you available?" "Sure, I'm at my son's football game. What do you need?" "I really need your help right now. And I don't have my computer with it," or something like that. So, yeah, man, what do you need? I got you. Because he's got a good relationship with his principal. He trusts his principal. And he reached out saying, "I need you to do this. I need you to run down and get free $100 iTunes gift cards." What's in that person's mind? The AD. What's he thinking why his principal needs it? Look at the context. The all-staff meeting is tomorrow morning. That's exactly what he thought it was for. Buying gift cards for something to do with the all-staff meeting tomorrow morning. So he left his son's football game. That's a kick-ass principle to get somebody to leave their son's football game for you to go buy you gift cards, right? My staff would be like, no, dude, go buy them yourself, man. But, it's that level of trust. And they know how to abuse that to get people to act. The IT stuff that goes out. Change your password, your email is going to be shut down. Apparently they trust that we will shut their email down if they don't do it. Right? What about post-incident reviews? So we already talked about that a little. When you have an event, whether it's a big event or small event, share it out to your staff as an example of what's possible. Here's what they did. Here's the red flag that you could have identified. And if I think, go back to slide. So I don't know how well you can see this, but this is one of mine that I did as a simulated phishing attack. But you can see it's labeled 1. Obviously the email, it says Google Apps, no reply-accountreset.com. Not Google.com. So I identified that as, hey, here's a possible red flag to make you stop and think. Second one is obviously stop, think, verify. Now, our Google emails would have that in there. So not necessarily a red flag, but a yellow flag. Stop, think, verify where it's from. We suspect a hacker is compromised. What's techniques they use in email phishing? Threat, right? They threaten you, they get you, oh man, I need to do something now. So they get you excited that you need to do something. In order to unlock your account, again, using threatening language, googleaccount.com, not Google, googleaccount.com, the greatest one, a 1 instead of the L. You know how many staff fell for it, clicked it, and then when we talked to them about it, yeah, I saw that one and I thought it was weird. They still clicked and gave up their permission. This one was, again, this is the second one that I did, and it was still up in the third. So we didn't learn anything from the first simulation test that we did. And Beaverton's had a lot. They use a different product that is similar. And I believe, talking to Steve, you guys went down and your number of reports skyrocketed. So you're doing something that I'm not doing, right? Which is kind of the purpose of this, is to just get different ideas, different strategies that are going to be more effective, because obviously mine aren't working as well as I'd like. This is from the outside. How many people were at ACPEnw, I believe 2 or 3 years ago, and got the phone calls about Google Docs that were being shared from Google, and somehow taking over those? I forget what the response was at this point, but it was a bad thing. But they were coming from Google. Those were not forged, fake Google Doc sharing messages. They were from Google. That's my response to the question as far as why wouldn't I trust. Same thing with Office 365. So let me recap really fast then. So he's talking about using DPIN and DMARC headers to authenticate that those Google, Microsoft Office 365, SharePoint, doesn't matter what, that they are or can be trusted and no way be spoofed. Is that close enough to the representation done? Are you going to say something, Glenn, or are you just going to hear it? What about information security policy? We're trying to change these behaviors. Do we have the policies that as a new employee comes in, they understand what the expected behavior is? We don't yet. I'm working on it. But if you look at all the different policies that represent an information security policy program, there's a lot of them you got to put together. And there's templates out there you can buy. There's the ISO 27000 series that can kind of walk you through building all these policies, but they're different for each district. So just allocating the time to doing that. That's why I'm going to hire somebody to do it, because I have to pay for it. But you need to have the baseline policies in place that explain what the expected behaviors are, instead of just emailing your staff and saying stop doing it. Because at some point, somebody consistently is doing it, even though we don't want to be punitive, at some point there does have to be a discussion that takes place. Whether that's with the principal initially or with HR, because we have a responsibility to protect their data. We just heard in, I think heard it at some conference session here, the hackers, they're learning. Yeah, it was in my 12th session this morning. Most of the identities that are out there on the dark web for sale now, they're a commodity, they've been used over and over and over, whereas they're starting to learn that the youth information, so the social security numbers of students, or people that aren't 18 that already screwed up their credit, are much more valuable on the dark web. As soon as they figure out that when they get those credentials from us, that they have, if they get the right one, a SPED teacher. SPED teachers are our number one teacher, licensed person that responds to the email phishing. So there's a lot of education that needs to go into that group of people, but they also have the most access of it, including a lot more protected access. So as soon as staff figure that out, and in some cases, since our SPED are central, they have all districts. So that's 42,000 active students, plus however many have graduated over the last 15 years that we have data in the system. That's a lot of records. Anybody here at San Diego Public Schools, they lost, what, 650,000 records? Yeah. If you average that up to, you'll hear people say it's $183 average cost per, in a data breach, $183 per record. Somebody do the math on 650,000 records times $183. 90 million. Now I know it doesn't really cost like that, but it's going to cost them millions, one way or another. Lawsuit against them, one way or another, it will cost them. I haven't heard yet, maybe some of you have, where FERPA or the federal government or any of these regulations that are on us have penalized the school district for it. But I imagine at some point, in the corporate world, you didn't see CEOs being fired for it either, initially. But now you do. I have a feeling at some point we will start being held accountable for our data security practices. Probably a few years out, but at some point I believe we'll do it. So to repeat that, he said Texas has some legislation around that topic as far as accountability for school districts and the data that if you could find it, or you were shaking your head, if you could post it out to the ACPEnw list, that'd be awesome. Just throw it out and say, hey, check this out. Metrics. Should that be part of your security awareness program? How do you know if you're effective if you're not tracking some form of data? What are some of the things you can track? Click-through. Internet usage. What type of reach? Surveys. If you put out a training, how many of you watched? Or, depending on the system you use, if you use like MailChimp to send out your training, you can track the number of clicks that use the training. We use that for some things in our district, and we'll send out an all-staff email, and we don't usually get above 40% readership. That's the barrier that you're up against. You're only training 40% of your staff, if that, if they read your email. That's only 60%. You got to figure out some other strategy to get to them. At our size, I can't get in front of staff at staff meetings. We don't obviously have an all-staff meeting, ever. So I have to do all my communication through some other method that's available. Be it email, video, routing it through the principals, routing it through the communications department. I had to figure out some other strategy. In my prior district, I could get out in front of staff meetings. It was small enough, we had a place where we could pull all staff together and I could talk about it. That we're so large, you have to do processes. It just doesn't happen. And I imagine Seattle, both the public, Beaverton, are much the same. All right, your turn. Has anybody wrapped this into their annual mandatory compliance? We already had that question, and I think I saw a few names go up that did. We don't, because because there's already like 2 weeks worth of training in that. And I haven't pushed for it either. But people are just flipping through. So I don't see it as an effective mechanism because ours is so long, so tedious, that people just do whatever they can to get through it. I want them to actually read and understand this as this part of it back here. And what product is that? Fish strip from the sofa. Had a training component as well as a quiz for the training. What about for Windows district, and I imagine Mac, using the desktop background or the lock screen as a messaging component? That's one that we're going to be looking at this year. We already use it for branding all of our devices. What about using it for communication? We have the posters. We don't, but some districts use posters. When I was at Coding Conference, there's a school district, I think it was in New Mexico, just because the director wanted I don't know what you call them, the air guides. There's just that air thing that's flapping around like this. The director really wanted a reason to have one, so he made Cybersecurity Day the reason to purchase one of those, and he put it out in front of the school and got the school to put Happy Cybersecurity Day on their message board, and it generated conversation, which is, again, another good strategy. It's just generate the conversation around it. So some online safe schools curriculum around cybersecurity. And those for staff or students? Or both? Okay. Somebody has that as part of their mandatory training. Well, you guys have 15 minutes. Got a hand up. So if you have questions around GoFish, you can go see Jared from the Pine School District. I'm sure you guys have questions. Which one went up first? I'll pick this one. Along those same lines, so if you couldn't hear that, that was IT staff are not investigators. So just because they have access to the system doesn't mean that they should necessarily try to dig down into it. And if that's wrong, then you have to dig into it. crosses between networking and desktop support. So for them to be able to do some of this stuff, we needed to, for our desktop support technicians, elevate their privileges and give them access into like web filtering and block websites, which is normally networking only. But we had to make it really clear to our technicians, you have this for the purpose of phishing incident response, not as part of your daily job. You know, I still want to keep the line as far as who's responsible for what, except if you're responding to an email phishing attack, then use the tools and follow the rules. So that's another area where you have to kind of clearly identify where those lines are and the expectations are. Every external So I'm going to test what 3 words invalidates that. Are you available? There was no attachment, there was no link. There was a social engineering attack. And one of the most effective ones I've seen. Right. That's how we get there, right? Depending on or Google, things like that. I know with Microsoft, we don't have that level of flexibility to do that. There may be third-party plugins, and I know one district that puts message on was using some third-party plugins because they have some pretty good capabilities that do some contextual stuff. Or else what? Right? Because I know for our business system, we do have a confidentiality and expectation process in place, but we have people in payroll that and that's the whole point of this session is there is no one way to do it. It's going to have to be a concerted effort, and that's why that's why Bellevue hired a dedicated person. That's why I'm looking at hiring a dedicated person. Seattle probably already has one. It's a full-time job. And their primary job will be training the staff. My guys can do all the technical stuff, security-wise and stuff like that. This person will be a part of that, but his primary role is training the staff, because that's your business. That's our business. So has anybody automated their phishing response? So if somebody reports, as you automated blocking the email address, blocking the URLs that are in that think very few people would be able to do that. North Shore could probably do it because they're on unit systems and all that stuff, although I know they're using cyber. How many of you guys have internal emails recorded? My last post-incident response out to all staff got recorded as email phishing, which tells me what? They told me they didn't read it. Because if they'd read it, then one would have known it was phishing. And two, they wouldn't have reported it because it was providing training, there was no links, there was no attachment. And that's part of the problem. How do we train our users to care about what we care about and understand why we care about it and why they care about it? For us, when we respond, we get about 50 reports a day, and right now it's the invoices that are running around nonstop. Here's your invoice, so that keeps pretty busy. And like I said, you got to use your judgment on what is a risk, because a lot of the email phishing stuff isn't really a risk. If somebody falls for the already available, don't really. It's your money. If you want to go buy iTunes gift card, I don't care. But if you're impersonating my superintendent or trying to steal our info, yeah, that I do care about it. And we need to respond to it. So I ask my staff on that. Possibly use your judgment. Because you're getting 50 to 100 a day. You can't respond to every one because it's a 10-15 step procedure. That's pretty intense. So use your judgment to figure out which one you need to respond to, even the speed of response. Use your judgment. The superintendent one, right away, because that's a bigger threat versus especially when we have data to show us, hey, it's successful. So since they just clap, I'm assuming my time is up. If you're in my next session, stick around. If not, have a good time.